Well, this just in, breaking news. At least 2 dead and a dozen hurt, some with catastrophic injuries after car driven by Asian knifeman mows down pedestrians at Westminster Bridge before he's shot attacking police in grounds of Parliament. You know, guys, this is a time that we really need to pray. There's just awful things happening in the world, and we are called to be the salt of the world and the light of the world. And so this is a time when we need to pray. We could condemn. It's awful what happened. But what was needed right now is that we should pray. At least two people are dead after a terror attacker brought carnage to central London today, mowing down pedestrians in Westminster Bridge before attacking police with a knife in the grounds of the Houses of Parliament. At least 10 people were hit by a vehicle on the bridge after a 4x4 drove into pedestrians and cyclists before crashing into the gates of Parliament. An intruder described by a witness as middle-aged and Asian then managed to break into the grounds of the Parliament and stabbed a police officer before he was shot and injured. The policeman is feared to have since died. An hour after the attack, paramedics removed a man thought to be the attacker from the scene after extensive CPR. Another body appeared to have been left on the ground covered by a red blanket. A doctor at St. Thomas's Hospital has said one woman has died and a number of others have been hurt, including some with catastrophic injuries. Prime Minister Theresa May is said to have been bundled into a car by a plainclothes police officer and driven quickly from the scene. As the attack unfolded, she will chair a meeting of the government's emergency Cobra meeting committee tonight. Scotland Yard said the attack, which comes a year to the day after the terrorist atrocities in Brussels, is being treated as a terrorist incident until we know otherwise. And we can just look at some of these pictures here of this awful attack that has just unfolded. There is the knife itself. You see there the police and paramedics, etc., trying to help people, trying to get this situation under control. You know, as Christians, this is very unfortunate. As for anybody, this is important, not just Christians, but as Christians, we have a mandate to help, to encourage, to bless. And we see that the world is in turmoil, unfortunately, because we're not following the things that God has told us to do. And so it will keep getting worse, unfortunately, until the day that Jesus comes back. Our job is not to freak out, not to live in fear, but to live with expectation of what God is going to do. Well, it goes on and on and on. Unfortunately, all this has happened. Right here is where the vehicle came in and mounts a pavement on Westminster Bridge, and then it crashes into the railings outside the Parliament, and then it managed to make its way into here, and where he was then shot by police. And again, we can see there the car that presumably a man thought to have jumped has been knocked from Westminster Bridge and lay with terrible injuries next to the Thames. Again, terrible things are happening. Again, it's easy for us to throw the blame on this person or that person. We don't know all the facts, and so it's of course hard to say. But what we do know is that Jesus is in control, and we need to be the light of the world. A spokesman for the Port of London Authority, which looks after safety on the River Thames, said a female member of the public was recovered from the water near Westminster Bridge. She's alive but undergoing urgent medical treatment on a nearby pier. We believe she fell from the bridge. He said the river has been closed from the Vauxhall to embankments as part of the security response. Male journalist Quentin Letts said saw the incident out of the window of a common office. He told the BBC, "We heard this sound that sounded like a car crash. Then we saw a thick-set man in black clothes come through the gates where people would normally drive cars. The man had something in his hand that looked like a stick. He was challenged by two policemen. The policeman fell down." We could see the man in black moving his arm in a way that suggested he was either striking or stabbing. Now, it is interesting that the police in London do not carry guns. Interesting. The whole idea that you don't need guns anymore as a police officer, to me, seems a bit strange. A knife can do a pretty good job. If you don't have anything bigger to protect yourself, then that could be a real problem. Kevin Schofield, the editor of thepoliticshome.com, heard a very large bang from the press gallery inside the Houses of Parliament, followed by lots of shouting and men running around. He initially thought it was a car crash, but then he looked outside the window to a heavily guarded area outside, which is out of bounds to the public. He told Sky News someone rushed through, attacked a policeman went down. Another policeman came and he was rescued. The man who had assaulted him got up and appeared to be carrying either a knife or a gun. Then we heard gunfire, lots of gunfire, maybe 5 or 6 rounds. Well, obviously some people, and presumably the Parliament people, are carrying it. I do know that by and large the police do not carry weapons there, but perhaps some people at Parliament may actually carry them. That's, of course, a good thing. The man who had assaulted him got up, and as I just read that. So there we go. There are the pictures of what is actually happening. He unfortunately mowed down several pedestrians as he drove a gray Hyundai i40 across Westminster Bridge. And one witness says the tourists who were riding in the London Eye when the attack took place are currently being held inside the pods of the attraction as a safety measure. The Ferris wheel's official Twitter account said given its close proximity to the House of Parliament, it would be keeping hold of all its guests as per tried and tested security procedures. And so, of course, all of these things happening today. So please do keep them in prayer. Very tough time. You can check that out at dailymail.co.uk for more information on this terrible event that just happened. As Christians, let's pray for these people and for the attackers, and really for the peace of God to reign in this world.